So fun. Oh, this is going to be a fun morning. Hello, hello. You know, it's funny. We do so many of these globally that the first thing is like, where are you calling from? And you're going to, Fort Washington, Bluebell, Bala, all local. No. So, let's start while we're getting ready because we still have about 3 minutes. You guys want to share kind of what you're hoping to get out of today's program, because you guys are investing, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes this morning. And I want to make sure that at the end of that 50 minutes, you're like, man, that was a great use of my time. So I want to make sure that we're doing that. So yeah, in chat. Oh, I see some chat happening. Woohoo. Okay. Cinnamon Sin, I love it. All the way across the bridge. That's fabulous. So what are you guys hoping that you're taking away today? I mean, this is converting LinkedIn connections to conversations. How are you? I'm sure everyone is here because they're like, I need to use LinkedIn better now that we have a lot less in-person trade shows and networking meetings and business card exchanges and all that stuff. So my instinct is we're here to learn how to use LinkedIn better to network and grow our business. Put a why if that's why you're here in chat. Just put a little why. Go, yep, I am here to learn how to use LinkedIn to get more phone calls with targeted buyers, striking the right balance to generate business without people feeling spammed. I absolutely love that, Melissa. 100%. No question. There is a major problem right now with LinkedIn in that people are, I heard the funniest term, they're being pitch slapped. I think that's awesome. Yeah, there's this connect and pitch. It's about spam, and we do not want to do that. Yep. Several of my contacts sing your praises. Oh, thanks, Leah. And I follow you on LinkedIn. Can't wait to hear your expertise. Oh gosh, the pressure's on. Teresa, I hope I can pull it off. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Bryn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good now that I'm on. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties, but that might happen today, but we're going forward. We're moving forward.
I look at that as virtual traffic. Like I'm late for a meeting because there's so much traffic exactly. On 476. It's a virtual traffic. I'm having trouble logging in.
So I would like to welcome everybody to our 5th annual Power Your Potential conference. And we're so thrilled to have Bryn Tillman. She's the CEO of Social Sales Link to speak with us today. I will be assisting Bryn in the chat box. So if you have any questions, please enter them in the chat box. And then if we have time at the end, we'll answer some of those. So Bryn.
Awesome. So I am all about being interrupted, Wendy.
Okay.
So if the question relates to what we're talking about, interrupt, because sometimes that's the best way to get the answer. I'm in the flow, right? If the question is, should I buy premium? Let's wait till the end.
Okay. Sounds
awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. And we have Teresa here too, who volunteered to help as well. So this is great, but I am really excited. Are we recording? It is. Let's get started. Converting LinkedIn connections to conversations. I could not be more honored to be part of this amazing group. So thank you. I'm Bryn Tillman. You can reach out to me. I answer most of my emails within 3 weeks. And it's a little overwhelming. I'm actually much better answering on LinkedIn. So if you want to engage with me, connect, and I'm looking at LinkedIn all day long. And I'll mention this at the end. We curate tons of our content at linkedinlibrary.com, totally free, lots of stuff. So if you loved this, you'll get even more there. And we're going to start with this gigantic warning, and this is a crazy, stupid, jam-packed agenda today. And I speak quickly. The good news is this is being recorded. I guess we can figure out how you can get access to that afterwards. But you're going to get kind of an implementable takeaway, at least one every 2 minutes. So we highly recommend that you close your email, put your phone down. If you are a pen and paper writer, great. You're also welcome to take screenshots. It's a good way to remember. And what I typically recommend is if I say something, but I'm moving quickly and you don't want to miss the next thing, write the timestamp down, right? So 9:47. And then when you do get access to the recording, you know where to fast forward to get to that. So today's jam-packed agenda is what it takes to get a conversation on LinkedIn, how to position your profile to get more conversations, identifying existing connections you'd love conversations with. I know I ended with a preposition. I apologize, especially my mother was an English teacher. Struggle with that one. Strategies and tactics to start more conversations and move it from content to conversation. So let's start with, and this, by the way, I had this morning, Melissa mentioned one of the things she was hoping to get out of this was how to engage without spamming or coming across like spam. And this is the foundation to the way to think about social selling. Social selling is about building relationships, providing real value, and being a resource. The sales will come when the time is right. Detach from your sales goal and attach to providing value to your prospects and clients and audience. When you can really live this way, you're going to see great success with LinkedIn and social selling. So, it's an interesting, I'm going to just mention, I think it's an interesting way to look at it. My friend Larry Levine, who one of the best podcasts, Selling from the Heart, talks about commission breath, right? Everyone can smell your commission breath, even on Zoom, right? And when we get and we're getting pitches all the time, we're getting connections and immediately it's a pitch. It feels like a bait and switch. We don't want to do that. So it's really, I want you to be hyper aware. Do I have commission breath? Okay. What it takes to get a conversation. Number one, you need to earn the right. And we're going to talk a lot today about what it takes to earn the right. And we've got to master the ask offer ratio. So this was inspired by a book called Gap Selling by Keenan. And I've totally embraced this and use it in a more comprehensive way than he even did in his book. But this is the core of how I want you to think about your LinkedIn and social selling. In fact, probably all of your sales activities. In fact, potentially even all of your relationships. But every single thing that we do, that we ask someone to do, we ask them to read a piece of content, watch a video, connect with us on LinkedIn, take a phone call. All of that has this ask offer ratio. We're asking them for 3 minutes. And at the end of it, they have the offer is whatever it is they're consuming or they're getting from it. Even if the ask offer ratio is I'm selling you something and you're paying me for it. At every level, there is this ask offer ratio. We need to master it. How do we do that? Well, there are 3 reactions to almost every single ask offer. The first one is bait and switch. I ask you to connect because I want to network with you and then I pitch you. I ask you to read an article that is features, not value, not education. I ask you to watch a video that's talking all about me and is of no value to you. That's a bait and switch. We are victims of this every day, all day long. We do not want to be the perpetrator. The next one is neutral. And this is where most of the time our content falls. They land there, there's no impact. Where we want to be is compelling as much as possible in everything that we do. Now that may seem overwhelming, but we're going to talk about, throughout today, we're going to talk about how to be compelling and what compelling means. But ultimately, compelling can be something as small as they like it, react, comment, share it, to accepting your connection request, to asking you to connect, to raising their hand and saying, I want a phone call. So compelling gets an engagement, a little bit of engagement, all the way to a lot of engagement. But if what we put out there in a message, in content, in our profile is compelling, we will get conversations. And lastly, the only way to be compelling is to be a resource. And we're going to go deeper into what that looks like. Compelling for them to want to talk to you is only when you bring them value. vendor agnostic value, value they can use even if they never talk to you. So how do we actually do that? We're going to start with the mindset of lead to your solution, not with your solution. When you lead with your solution, you're screaming to the world, we help companies just like you. Like all the time. Stop that, right? We need to lead to our solution, and we do that through insights and value and creating aha moments and educating them and getting them to think a little bit differently. Little breadcrumbs, right, that lead them to our solution. And so if you read whatever it is you're about to put out there and it sounds like a pitch, it's going to backfire. But if it's little bits of content where they're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't think of things that way. And we're shifting the way that they're seeing their current state, they're going to get closer and closer to us. So I am sure that most of you have heard the Go Givers know, like, and trust, right? Years and years and years of no one does business unless they know, like, and trust you. And that was great when we could go and meet people in person and we could have some wonderful conversations and go to trade shows and go to the Pyramid Club and go to the Chambers of Commerce, right? We could get to know, like, and trust people. It's a little harder right now. So there are things that we have to do that get us to the know. And right now it's attract, teach, and engage. That's how we get them to know, like, and trust us. So we've got to be a magnet to attract people, right? Really, really important. We also need to teach them something new. This is the absolute core to getting them to trust you as a professional. They have to know that you know more than they do. That you've got insights that are valuable to them. And last, right, so to engage, right, we've got to be interesting enough and provide enough value that they want more. Okay. So it starts with your profile. And this is about moving your LinkedIn profile from a resume to a resource. So right now, most of your profiles are probably set up to be resumes. And I get it, like that's what LinkedIn encourages in a lot of different ways. But if we're in a business development role, our goal, whether we're a business owner or we're in sales, or our job is to create leads or opportunities or start sales conversations, we need to show up as a resource, as a problem solver, as someone that they can come to with their questions around the industry that you support. And it is our profile that is our landing page to do this. So what is the goal of your profile? Number one, resonate with your buyer. They have to know immediately that you help them. Number two, create curiosity. It's really tough to get people to keep reading your profile if you're not creating a moment of, I want more. Provide insights. It's a teach piece, right? We want to make sure we resonate, we create curiosity, we teach them something new through insights. We get them thinking differently about their current situation. And then we lead them to our solution by raising their hand and saying, I want more. So how do we do this? Let's start with the headline. The headline should cover four things: who you help, that's where they resonate, how you help them, the results you bring, and ultimately what you do. This is going to get them interested in reading more. So my headline example, this is not sparking any kind of curiosity. CEO at Social Sales Link, who cares? You wouldn't even know what Social Sales Link does. But this will resonate with my buyer. So transforming the way professionals grow their business by leveraging LinkedIn to convert content and connections to conversations. So that's the first part. And by the way, there used to be 120 characters, and that's where we'd have to stop. LinkedIn recently upped that to 210 characters. So I was able to add more, so which is great. It's great real estate. So who do I help? Professionals that want to grow their business. How do I do that? By leveraging LinkedIn. Why should they care? To convert content and connections to conversations. If you don't want more conversations, I'm not your gal, right? And that's fine, right? Like this is a qualifier of sorts. Am I getting the attention of the people that I want to engage? And then it might be, well, how do you do that? Virtual instructor-led programs for sales teams that are remote. That's new. Make sure that your buyer knows that you can help them remotely, because if you can't, we're on furlough, right? So we want to make sure that that is out there. The about summary is next. Normally our about summary, we start with my mission, my passion, my years in business. And although eventually they will care about you, they don't yet. If you start with, we help people, and then I talk about me, it feels like a bait and switch. So we help people, and now we actually want to help them. So now don't just tell them how you can help them, actually help them. So we want to move it from about you to a gift. And the gift is the resources and the insights that get that resonate, that create curiosity, that teach them something new, that get them thinking differently, and that lead them to your solution, right? So how do you do this? You need to start with the challenge they're facing. That's the resonate. Yep, that's me. That's my challenge. Oh my God, she gets me. Offer vendor agnostic insights. These are insights that stand alone. These insights are, they can use, if they never talk to you, never see you again, they are implementable, or at least have an impact without you. So if it's, we help people do this and this and this, that's not an insight. Think of it almost like a blog post. Are you providing that value? Briefly, and I mean briefly, 1 or 2 sentences at the most, share how you can help. Then a call to action, so they know how to get in touch with you and they know why. And make sure at all times you've got that contact information. So if you have questions about the about summary, certainly feel free to reach out to me. I've got some blog posts and some other content on that. And take a look at mine, how mine is structured. It really, our goal is to convert to conversations. That's the job of the summary, is to help people go, if I can learn that much just from reading that profile, imagine how much I'm going to learn if I get on a call. The featured section, relatively new, but this is the visual section that I love. I'm so happy they do this, and we can highlight posts. So if you post something, we can bring it into our profile. Articles, which is blogging inside of LinkedIn, we can bring that into our profile. You can link to YouTube videos or blog posts on your site. This is the one area where linking outside sources to LinkedIn doesn't ding you. When you're doing posts, they don't want you to leave the site, but it does not ding you if you're adding links to your profile. Uploading media, decks or Word docs or PDFs or whatever it is, or even images, you can add media here. This featured section is huge. So here's the challenge with the featured section. I often see collateral listed here. Here are the features and benefits. Here are the white papers that my marketing department created for me. Here is why buy from me. Here is my leave behind that I used to leave behind and now I want to upload it. That doesn't work on LinkedIn. You need to ask yourself, is this content a resource? Here's the goal. The goal is to get them to want more. So if you are being a resource, if you are getting them to think differently, that's what converts to conversations. So does it create the curiosity or get your audience thinking differently? Is it moving your prospect closer to your solution, right? Will it create raised hands? These are the questions you definitely want to ask if you want to take a quick screenshot, but this is like the litmus test of, is the content that I'm putting up here going to help me get more sales conversations, Or is it just my resume? Is it just company stuff? Is it exactly what they'd find if they went to my website? That's not where we want to land on this. Experience. So now we've kind of earned the right for them to care a little bit more. But nobody really cares about your job responsibilities or anything that doesn't relate to you as a human being, right? That's all about when we're in career search. So let's talk about your story here. I start my experience with, I started my career in an inbound calls as a board inbound call center order taker, right? And I talk about my story of how I got into sales and why LinkedIn for Sales. That's in the core piece of my experience. It is not all my accomplishments. I'm not looking for a job. If you're looking for a job, I have people I can refer you to. And if you're looking for a job, don't listen to my profile suggestions. This is all about business development. So your story and how it relates to how you help. A little bit about the company, maybe why you chose the company or started the company. And then we want to move into the solutions that you offer. Do I talk about that? Okay. So solutions that you offer, and you can certainly look at my LinkedIn profile to see this, but I have my story. And then instead of, if you look at a typical experience, you'll see threaded together. I was a sales rep and then a director of sales and then the VP of sales and right. And so my positions are threaded together. Well, as a business development person or business owner, you don't have that, but I want to leverage that feature. So we can do that by then saying, here are the things that we sell, and each of them get 2,000 characters. So I have CEO, and then I have LinkedIn training for teams, and then I have private sessions and public classes, right? And so people can look through the solutions that I offer once I've earned the right. And I've earned the right because I've educated and trained and they've connected with me personally. And if they're still looking, they want to know now, how can I work with you? But that's earning the right. We've got to do it in the right order. If we start with us, you lose. If you start with your products, you lose. You have to start with providing them resources. Then who am I? And then how can you buy from me? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I know that there was a question here about quick tips for looking for jobs. What I could do is reach out to me directly, and I will introduce you locally. Actually, I would introduce her globally. I'm just going to throw out Lynn Williams, Lynne Williams, is the it girl, the it woman, the most amazing for career. I don't play in that space because she's so good at it. I don't want to give information that she could give for, and she has a Philadelphia Great Careers group. It's like nothing to join for the year, and it's got the most amazing content. So for those of you that are asking around that, check out Lynn Williams. All right, let's move next to recommendations. So recommendations help me close business. I don't know about you guys, but for me, often, especially if I'm selling bigger trainings into corporate, they'll say, we'd love to talk with a few people that have gone through this. So that can elongate my sales process, right? It can make things even go dark, right? If it takes too long for them to connect with my clients to get those recommendations. So, that reference, right? So recommendations for me fixes that. Because I go, absolutely. Let's start here. Go look at all the recommendations I have on LinkedIn and pick out the people you'd like to talk to, and I'll set that up. And I have a ton of recommendations from people just like them, and they read it and go, okay, that's enough. It's enough. I don't need more. So it's great, right? So those recommendations help to close business. It can also help to open doors if they're vetting and they look through and they go, she's got 80 recommendations of people that have succeeded using whatever you sell. That's worth a call. So it's credibility from another party, really important. All right, Now we're moving into your network. And I think I have to speed this up. Your network, there's you, right? That's your account. There's your first degree connections, all the people that you've mutually decided to connect with, and your second degree connections, which are the connections of your connections, friends of friends, right? Thirds are cold. So the biggest mistake we make when social selling is random acts of social. We are going in, and we all have done it, right? We go in, we accept some connection requests, we like a few things, maybe we share something, and then we disappear. And there's no process around this. If you're using this for business development, if you are using this as a sales tool, we want to be purposeful when we're doing this. And we need to start with a couple of mindset shifts, right? So know who you want to talk to and what they want to hear. Make this shift from what you want to tell them to what they want to hear. Once we do that, we've got to drill down. Who do we want a conversation with? So there are lots of different people. Some of these will resonate with you, some may not. Current clients, and we'll talk about why. Past clients, prospects, referral partners, community leaders, and vendors. These are all people that we want to be having conversations with. So what do we want from with our prospects? We want insights calls. We don't want to start with pitch calls. We want to make sure that we are reaching out to our prospects with some really great conversation starters around pure value. This is not, I repeat, this is not a sales call. This is, hey, I have some things I'd love to share with you that are vendor agnostic, meaning they can leverage it even if they never work with you. The goal of that call is to close for a sales call. And unfortunately, from a time perspective, I can't go too deep into what that sales call looks like. But if you're struggling with how do you move that first call, close that insights call to a sales call, reach out to me. I'm always happy to chat. So what conversations do you want to have with your clients? More business, always. Internal introductions, especially if you're selling to larger companies. LinkedIn tells us there is a 20% turnover year over year. So your buyer is, 1 out of 5 of your buyers is leaving this year. So we want to make sure that we socially surround an organization and we are deeply connected internally. External introductions. Who do our clients know that we want to get in front of? These are conversations that we should be having on a consistent basis. Recommendations and case studies. Again, I talked about how important those recommendations are. That's that third-party validation. And vendor introductions. Some of my best business is referred by my client's marketing company, right? Or my client's website developer. Or, those are all folks that are selling into the same people that I want to have conversations with. And I'm referring business to them as well. So next is vendor and referral partners. So it may sound the same, but we want those vendors, the vendors that I just started talking about, that we want from our clients. We need to build deeper relationships with them. I would say I have more conversations with vendor and referral partners than I do prospects, because the best business for me is coming in from other people. And I'm really good at making introductions for other people, but I need to know them and I need to know, like, and trust them, right? And so deepening those relationships with vendors and referral partners, even doing joint efforts and going after business as a team, has been incredibly successful for my business and a lot of my clients. So we've got to start having those conversations. Now, once we've built those relationships, we can mine their connections and invite them to mine our connections and come to each other with the 18, 20, 30 names that each other knows and make introductions for one another. Community leaders, so important. Leaders of chambers of commerce, of associations, all of these people are hyper connected to folks, and they've got to know who you are and the value you bring. But you have to bring value to them as well, and we'll talk about this. So they'll know what members you should meet. Have a conversation with them. Talk about, who you can refer business to. Make some, leverage their relationships to get some introductions into those strategic alliances. Volunteer is a great way to build relationships internally. Participate in events. Share your expertise in events and build a reputation inside of a community that you can serve well. But we have to start with our first degree connections. We've been ghosting lots of people. We've been connected to tons of people that we don't even remember we connected to. So we need to know who we've been ignoring. So the first thing you can do is export your connections. Feel free to take a screenshot of this slide, because this is all the steps. Once you go through this, you're going to get your connections, first name, last name, company, job title, all into an Excel spreadsheet. And you're going to be able to take inventory of who my clients, my existing clients, my past clients, all these people, community leaders that I want to engage with. When the quarantine began, this is the first thing that I did. And my first inclination was to reach out to every single community leader, or almost every community leader I was connected to do complimentary webinars for members on how to now sort of do what we're doing now, is building relationships on LinkedIn. And I'm very fortunate and very grateful, because of the gift, where I wasn't really expecting anything in return. I was able to maintain my business all through quarantine. But I had to identify, I couldn't think offhand more than 5 or 6. But when I identified, I had 34 community leaders throughout the country that I had connected with. I've engaged at one point in my career, and was able to re-engage. So really, think about taking inventory of your existing connections, right? This is what it looks like: first name, last name, email, company, position, and the date. It's in order in the date that you connected. So you get to see who your very first connection was. Isn't that fun? You can also search your first degree connections by title, keywords, location, relationship, industry, company, and more. There are lots of search filters inside of the free LinkedIn. And by the way, location, LinkedIn amazingly has an update that's awesome, where before you could only do the greater Philadelphia area. You can actually put in town names. I could put in Bluebell, Ambler. If it has a zip code, it shows up. So you can now really hyper search location. Tactics for starting a conversation. So remember, the goal is to schedule calls or conversations. When you go through your list, who can you give kudos to? Who's done some great things? This is a public thank you for someone that maybe helped you move your office from your physical office to your home office. Maybe it's someone who made an introduction for you or brought value. Endorse them. And a lot of people go, well, that's just silly, that whole endorsing thing. What I like about that is if I go and endorse someone, there's an auto-populated message that comes back that says, that comes back. So let's say I endorse Teresa for being funny, which she is, and fabulous, right? She'll get a population that says, thank you, Bryn, for endorsing me for being funny. That's going to auto-populate a message that in one click, she can get back to me. And that's a great way to start a conversation. Engage on their content. People share content, engage, and then reach out and say, really loved that post. That will start a conversation. Give the gift of content, original content, curated content, or even their own. Ask their point of view. Polls are powerful because people love to share their thoughts. Create a poll to start a conversation. Interview folks on Zoom for content. And ask via mobile. You can create a video on the mobile app simply by visiting their profile, clicking on message, going down on the plus sign and click on video and selfie. Okay, that was a lot of steps, but you can create a personal video, and we're seeing well over 90% response on those. Next, we need to leverage our second degree connections, client referrals, networking introductions, and permission to name drop. We need to get this down. So the first thing I want you guys to do is make a list of all the clients that you have served well, that love you and sing your praises. And can make sure you're connected to them on LinkedIn and mine their connections. Do some searches. You can use that, we talked about doing that search of your first degree connections. You can do this by adding their name to the filter of connections of, and you can mine the connections of your clients and your other connections, and bring a list to a meeting, right? And, networking introductions, same thing. And if you're like, oh my gosh, it's really uncomfortable to ask a client for many introductions, they're so busy, you can always ask for permission to name drop. Once you do that, so let's just talk, I'm going to elaborate on permission to name drop for a moment. Teresa, I see that you're connected to 17 people on LinkedIn that I'm going to be reaching out to in the next couple of days. Before I do, can I review these names with you and get some insights that you might have? And great, sure, thank you. We get on a call, 10 minutes. Fred's awesome, Jane's great. I don't remember Anne, I don't remember Tracy, but oh yeah, Annie's fabulous, right? Okay, so we have this list and 17 names becomes 8. Thank you so much for your time. Would it be okay when I reach out to them? This is the name drop, permission to name drop. Would it be okay that I mentioned we had this conversation and that you thought it made sense for me to reach out to them? Yes, fabulous, thank you. Right now we're assuming the conversation. Wendy, Teresa and I were chatting the other day. Your name came up in our conversation and she thought it made sense for us to connect. Please visit my profile, and if you agree, please accept my connection request, right? So once we do that and they accept, we're going to assume the conversation. But remember, this is not a presentation. This is not a promo. This is not a pitch. This is going to be an insights call. Your name came in referred by a credible source. You invite them to connect and visit your profile. Schedule a time to chat based on the recommendation. Begin the call about the shared connection and ask them, if there's anything they'd like to cover on the call. If not, offer to share insights. Ask questions that lead to aha moments, right? So you'll ask a question. So it's an insight, right? So before we get started, or Wendy, before we get started on our call, I'd love, I've asked you, is there anything you want to cover? No, not necessarily. Well, I'd love to provide some insights around X, Y, and Z. But before I do, is it okay if I ask some questions so that when I do provide those insights, they're appropriate for you? Absolutely. But you have to be prepared. Your questions need to lead to amazing insights. And then we close this by, boy, Wendy, here are the 3 takeaways from today. You have a couple of pieces of homework to do. This reminds me very much of a client that I worked with a couple of years ago. Would it be okay if I share that story with you? And when you get permission to share that case study, you can now move it without it being a bait and switch from an insights call to kind of talking a little bit about how you help clients. And you conclude with a recap with, what you heard from them, the insights that you provided them, and just ask them, based on what you heard, what I learned, I think we can help you here. Is this something you'd like to explore further? I'm telling you, this stuff works. Content to conversations. 74% of buyers choose the sales rep that was first to add value and insights, was a study from Corporate Visions. 3/4 of buyers are choosing people that teach them, not based on price or rate or anything else, right? So 3 ways to get content that starts conversations. You can curate content. That means finding content from other places. You can create content, and you can share their own company content with them. I have had more conversations, especially if you're selling to larger companies that don't, the people inside don't see their own press. I've got Google alerts going for my top prospects. I use Sales Navigator to keep track of content that's being shared on the company's behalf. But if I'm selling into a particular company and their CEO gets an award, a humanitarian award, or whatever it is, right? So I reach out and say, hey, Fred, I hope you're well. I just read a post that your CEO got this great award. Most people in larger companies like yours miss their own press. I thought I'd get in front of you. What a great way to start a conversation. They're like, oh my God, that was so personal. By the way, I used to do this back in the day. I'd get the Philadelphia Journal and I'd cut out articles, right, the CEOs, and I'd write a little post-it note and I'd mail it to them. That's all we're doing now. We're just doing it digitally. Put a little Y if you did that. If you were a Philadelphia Journal cutter outer and mailer, put a little, yep, that's me in chat, just out of curiosity. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So curating content, there's lots of ways to do this. Find and follow industry sites. I use feedly.com. It's free. Yep, we got some yeps coming up. I love it. It's free, right? And Feedly is sort of a dashboard where you can curate content. So when you need content, you can go to one dashboard and find it. Other things like pocket.com does that too. Find content through hashtags and your clients and prospects that you follow. Find and follow industry influencers, share their content and engage with their followers. Let other people be your magnet. How to get it to them. You can share it on the news feed, but the inbox is where the real power comes in. It's absolutely fabulous. Take content and get it into the inbox of your buyers and influencers and referral partners. Starting the conversation. And I know I only have a minute here. Can I go 5 minutes long? I just want to make sure because I got a little bit more content here. Hope that's okay. I'm going to keep going.
Rin, it's Treese. You can go till about, I would say 10:25-ish. You got some time.
Oh, okay. So I probably only need 7 more minutes and then we can do some Q&A, but thank you. Terrific.
Yeah, you're good to go. Our next session is until 11 and yeah, we're good to go.
Yay!
Take your time. You're on a roll, girl. Go.
Okay. Starting the conversation from curated content. You find a piece of content that's relevant to them, to their industry. I recently came across an article on ABC and I thought as CEO in the XYZ industry, you might get some value from it. Here's where it's important. The most interesting insights I gleaned were this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is so easy. If you know the industries you're selling into and you do a good job, I mean, finding the great content, once you've set up a Feedly or somewhere where you're curating content, it doesn't take that much time. You don't have to have original content, but you need original thought. And the original thought is, this is what I gleaned from it. Very few people are going to ignore this when you've done this, right? Create your own content. Video. My favorite way to create content is Zoom. Just get on, interview people, talk about things. And it's so simple to get video content. Blog posts. I'll take a Zoom video and use otter.ai, AOTTER.ai. It transcribes video or audio in 10 minutes. Clean it up and you've got a blog post. Images. I use Canva. I'm a Canva addict. I pay for it. It's like $10 or $12 a month, but you can use it for free. Also Pixabay, 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 yeah, has some free images. And you could create images. You could use wordart.com and create your own images. People absolutely love images. Quotes, your own quotes from people inside of your organization. Get them out there. People love it. Just text posts, asking questions, documents, uploading PDFs. If you upload a PDF to LinkedIn, it creates it into a very pretty scroll. Fabulous way to do that. And now we have LinkedIn Stories, which is app only, but I'm getting some really good engagement. And here's why I like, there's good, bad, ugly, but I like stories because you get to see every single person that has viewed that story, and you have the opportunity to message or connect with them. Why I don't like it is that data goes away in 24 hours. So if you don't capture it in time, you're done. You never see it again. But with a regular post, you only see the people that engage. You get a count of who's viewed it, but you don't know who they are. With stories, you do. So there's some power in that. Starting the conversation from original content, really almost the same. I recently posted a video on ABC and thought, as the CEO in the XYZ industry, you might get some value from it. I'm not sure if this topic is top of mind, but if it is, there are quite a few takeaways around D, E, and F, right? Love to hear your thoughts. Tell them what they're going to get by watching it. Sharing their own content. You can find this LinkedIn company pages, their own website. Google the company name and click on the news tab. You know, like when you Google, you have images, there's news. Google the company name and click on news. Search for press releases. There, you know, this current stuff will come up if there's stuff in the news. Here's the conversation. I recently came across an article congratulating your company for the community service they did over the last few months. I was quite impressed. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it, as I often find CEOs can miss their own press. Either way, I thought I'd send it to you and say congratulations. It did it. It was a lot. I told you it was jam packed. A lot of information, but I'm happy to open for Q&A, and I invite you all, sign up for linkedinlibrary.com. You actually become a free member of our membership site. You have access to our members only webinars, which is not just me. We bring in experts from all over the world globally for sales and social selling. We have one a month right now, but next year we're going to have 2 to 4 a month. Only available to people that are our members, and you can be a free member by going to linkedinlibrary.com. I'd love to open this up for Q&A. Yes, perfect. Use Q&A, not chat. Q&A, typically when you ask a question in chat, it gets lost. So awesome. I would love to hear, guys, tell me, so I'm going to ask the question, did I master the ask offer ratio? I just took we started at 9:30, 44 minutes of your time at the end. No, I'm not good at math. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
45.
you're right. 44.
It is right. 44. So 45 minutes. Yeah, that's typically what it is. That's good. Tell me did I master the ask offer ratio? You invested 45 minutes of your time. Did what you get out of it, was that worth more than the 45 minutes of your time? Was it compelling? So I'd love to know, did I master that? Oh, hi, Maria. Thank you. Did you guys learn something new today? I mean, I know you guys, some of you have been through my stuff before, but here. So let's look at some questions. I know the hot times on LinkedIn have shifted. What are the best times to post for max visibility? So here's the thing, actually interesting. If you sign up for linkedinlibrary.com, our next guest is Andy Foote, who is the #1 LinkedIn algorithm genius. It's a free webinar on November 11th. So if you sign up for that, you'll get an invitation to participate in that. I don't know what the new stuff is. I could tell you what it was. I'm not a algorithm researcher, but Andy is, and he'll have an answer for you. For me, I think everybody's like looking all day long. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I wish I did. I could have told you what it was back in February. Can you say a bit more about getting your content into their inbox? Absolutely. So there's a few things. If you post content, there's a little paper airplane at the bottom of every content that says send. You click on that, it opens up, and you can actually just type their name. And Teresa just came across this article in the news feed and thought, hey, this is right up your alley. Hope you love that. Hope you like it, right? The inbox makes it so personal. I hope that helps. If not, you can ask more. Mission accomplished. Thank you, Mary Beth. I appreciate that. I certainly did. Looking forward to delving in next week. So awesome, Denise. Are you joining us next week? What are you delving into? I hope so. It sounds like they've improved the search caps in the free LinkedIn version. It might be the search filters. Given those improvements, what are your thoughts about the additional investment in Sales Navigator? I am obsessed with Sales Navigator. It is the most powerful sales tool that I have, but it's just like a gym membership. You sign up, you go a couple times, and then you pay the rest of the year and never get into shape, right? Because you don't go anymore. You've got to know when it's arm day. You got to know when it's leg day. You have to have a plan, and Sales Navigator is friggin' awesome, but you got to use it well. It's not just about the search, although the search has even more stuff too. So that's my thought. Absolutely worth my time. Thank you. Already looking at how I can change my profile. You are outstanding. Thank you, Mary. Search capabilities. So there are a lot more search capabilities still in Sales Navigator, not just those location based, but by employee size, by there's so many things, by how, if they're new employees or they've been there a long time, depending on what matters to you. So anything from chat, Wendy or Teresa, that I should know about? Whoops.
I am not seeing any questions, but lots of love.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you. How do you structure your time on LinkedIn Daily? What a great question. I have an ebook in the linkedinlibrary.com that's the day in the life of a social seller, and it takes you through the entire structure. So go sign up for linkedinlibrary.com. It's free, and you'll have access to that. Because that is a very common question that I get. Yay. Thank you very much for signing up, Teresa.
It was easy.
It was easy. We make it easy. You are now an official Social Sales Link member.
My gosh, do I get a t-shirt? I need a t-shirt or something.
Oh, yeah. We're actually thinking about pins. So like LinkedIn, which I think is so funny, based on certain things, right? We get these pins, these like LinkedIn pins. I thought that would be so much fun to do pins.
Yes.
On a lanyard. And Kajabi too, like my e-learning, I get, like when I hit dollar amounts, I get a little pin, right? Like it's so fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so fun. So we were thinking about that, but not yet. This was our pandemic pivot, this membership. We didn't have this 6 months ago.
You know, isn't it funny the good things that came out of this pandemic?
Yeah, and there are, right? Like I feel terrible for the people that lost people that were sick. I mean, it's awful, but there are some silver linings and I am appreciative of them.
Yep.
Well, thank you. I guess you guys have about 40 minutes before your next show. I really enjoyed this and talking with all of you, and thanks for the opportunity. Next time we'll be at it was supposed to be at Normandy Farms, right?
That's right.
That's where my daughter got married. By the way, we picked that after I was at this event where I met Teresa in person.
Excellent.
And then we ended up, so you can tell them you drove business to them.
We will. We certainly will.
Wedding 2 years ago. Not
Thanks,
2 years ago. Yeah. All right. And she's pregnant now. I'm going to be a grandmother. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye now.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. See you in a little bit.